What's up, YouTube? Alright, here we go, guys. Wkcv, the voice of Keystone College. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, guys. And I really can't stress that. Welcome to, honestly, the most talked about sports show, or sports talk show, I guess you could say, on the campus. And really, it's one that actually, and the reason I say that most talked about is because it gets the people going, guys. Guys, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about already, guys, welcome to Sports Talks here on Wkcv, the voice of Keystone College. I will be your host once again for the night. Hi, JT Colapinto. And guys, man, I come on here every week, man, every week, and there's something new to report about. I mean, last night, the fight between the Red Sox and the Yankees, and also the fight between the Padres and the Rockies. Honestly, I'll start off with those two real quick. Honestly, I'm going to say it like this. Is for the Rockies, good job holding Arenado back before he got suspended even more, because Arenado is a guy that you need. As for the Padres and, I think it was Campione, I think his last name is, but for Campione, honestly, he's going to miss a start. No big deal. All you got to do is just run a 4-man rotation and for a minute, and then, like, literally, you're good. So, it's not really a big deal. So, nice job there by both teams, honestly, just avoiding the long suspension. And honestly, if you guys don't know what the incident came to, it was actually, I think it was last night or 2 nights ago. I forget who was pitching. And he actually plunked a Padres pitcher and everything, and kind of went at war and everything. And then today, Arenado got thrown behind. Pitch was 96 miles an hour. So really, you could really make the argument as to why why all that was started. It's so really just, just to get you under the skin right there, or as to what happened. And honestly, not a bad job by either teams. Now, honestly, if you're the Yankees and the Red Sox, guys, let's be real. Yankees and Red Sox, it's not a regular Major League season unless somebody from either of those teams, or actually no, unless two people get into a fight in the season. And early in the season, now does this mean that, both teams are going to be, swinging right away? No, it doesn't mean that. Don't worry. It doesn't mean that just yet. But it just means, fights underway. And really, it was really between two guys that really don't matter in the game. And really, the two guys that Tyler Austin for the Yankees, why he's playing first base, probably because of Greg Bird or something, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's just gonna get Neil Walker a look over at first base, and then they're gonna throw to Reyes over at second base for a game, and then that's really, literally for Tyler Austin, he's expendable. So, literally, we could send him down to the minors tomorrow. And then the Yankees would actually have a backup plan for that. So, really, Yankees has figured out Joe Kelly. You don't need Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly is just a failed starter. That's all Joe Kelly has been throughout his career. He's just a failed starter. He really is. And a lot of people are going to get mad at that and everything. But really, look at him. I mean, he wasn't really a good starter in St. Louis and everything. And he came over to Boston. And now he's I don't know. Is he, the question that really runs around Joe Kelly is he middle relief? Is he, setup? Is he long relief? Because honestly, I'll give him the case that he could potentially, with the stamina that he has, he could potentially still, how can I put it? Kelly could definitely still go as a long relief pitcher, but honestly, I think they're just using him as a middle relief guy right now. And honestly, I think you could go without him. Really, the way I'm looking at it, you can go without Joe Kelly for a day. And I mean that. And honestly, it's also a case of, it's a bullpen guy that really, again, another guy that could be sent down tomorrow. Red Sox won't need him. So, honestly, it's a case of both fights. You look at the player standpoint, really, the only player that you had to be concerned about getting suspended more than one game was going to be Arenado. And pretty much, I think the Rockies could definitely use without Arenado for a day. Obviously, it would hurt, but they definitely have the backup in that lineup with Carlos Gonzalez, with Trevor Story, to definitely throw up the backup and everything. And so, alright, so, nonetheless, just wanted to touch on that real quick, because I know it was going to be bugging me throughout the show that if I had not talked about that, and I really wasn't sure how much time I was going to get to talk about baseball, so I just wanted to touch on those two fights last night. But nonetheless, man, let's go ahead, let's talk NBA, alright? Now this is where it's going to get stirring, this is where everything's going to get good. But because right now, Oh, we have the NBA playoffs. And guys, I mean, the matchups are set, man. And really, like, these are the matchups we have so far. And yes, don't worry, I will break them down. And ironically, I'm probably going to do it this entire show. That's probably how it's going to go this entire show. I'm going to break them down. So pretty much to start over on the western side, it's pretty much 1 versus 8. This is going to be probably the most interesting matchup in the first round. It's going to be the Houston Rockets taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then it's going to be, so that's probably, in my opinion, going to be the most intriguing matchup. Then you have 4 versus 5. You have OKC versus Utah. 3 versus 6 is going to be Portland against New Orleans. And then 2 versus 7 is going to be Golden State versus San Antonio. That's the West. Eastern side, really a lot of good matchups in a sense. And really, it would not surprise me if each of these games went more than 6. Or went 6 or more. Alright? If I had to guess, I think one of these games, I think the shortest one of these series could go, is maybe 5 games. Like, in that one would probably be 3 versus 6, Philly against Miami. So really, that's the shortest I have. But really, this is the Eastern Conference matchups. 1 versus 8, it's Toronto against Washington. 4 versus 5, it's Cleveland against Indiana. 3 versus 6, as I said before, it's Philadelphia, Miami. 2 versus 7, Boston taking on Milwaukee. So definitely a lot of interesting matchups to go around. Definitely a lot of stuff that's going to be, or definitely a lot of matchups that you can honestly point out, and it's going to be intriguing nonetheless. So real quick, I just, honestly, and the way I'm looking at this right now as to how to break it down is literally what I did was I took each matchup that's going down, I wrote down the starting lineups, I wrote that, and I highlighted who I thought was going to be, like, a key player and everything, and then I wrote down some other key players that are honestly probably going to be coming off the bench. So, honestly, you know what, let's not waste any time, let's get right into it. Let's get into it. So, going to start off with honestly, I think the most interesting matchup in the playoffs going to come today. It's going to be the Rockets against the Timberwolves. I honestly think that I think the series has the potential to go at 8. Now, honestly, here are the starting lineups. Rockets, it's Paul, Harden, Ariza, PJ Tucker, Clint Capella. I'll get to the other key players in a second. For the Timberwolves, it's Jeff Teague, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Taj Gibson, Karl Anthony Towns. Now, real quick, who I highlighted for each team is kind of, in a sense, a lot of people will say it's their stars, but there are reasons why I have these guys highlighted. Right now, I have Chris Paul, James Harden, and Clint Capella highlighted for the Rockets. Honestly, I'm going to say it like this. This reason I have Capella highlighted is honestly, I think that's your defensive center. Or honestly, I think Capella's been absolutely amazing this year. Honestly, bounce back year, definitely proven that he's going to be the big 3 starter, or the key for this big 3, and honestly has been the reason why, the Rockets have stayed in the top tier or area. Now, Chris Paul, James Harden, honestly, I think probably one of the best arguably one of the best front courts in the NBA, if not the best. Now, Chris Paul, obviously, we know him. All right, Paul is a potential double-double candidate every day, and pretty much every game. And the reason I say that is because honestly, he's a pass-first point guard, but if he has the open shot, he's gonna take it. And 9 times out of 10, Paul will not miss. And then James Harden, like, enough said, man. And all right, won his first scoring title and is probably gonna win the MVP. Actually, who am I kidding? He is gonna win the MVP. And really, I think that Harden and Paul, obviously, Harden gotten a little bit better on defense. Obviously, we joke all the time, James Harden doesn't play defense. But honestly, he definitely has improved on his defensive skill. And I definitely think that's going to be something that definitely helps out Harden throughout the entire playoff run. And then in terms of Chris Paul and Clint Capella, honestly, like I said, Clint Capella definitely going to help out of the defensive side and the rebounding side. And definitely going to be a very good second-chance scorer for this Houston Rockets team. And then Chris Paul, that pass-first mentality, honestly, is going to be very good for him. And honestly, the one thing that Chris Paul has been known to do throughout his entire career really has just been driving up the middle. And then pretty much, honestly, drawing the attention and then leaving someone like Harden or someone like Trevor Ariza, PJ Tucker, leave them open on the three-point line or from mid-range. And honestly, that's where the mistake comes in. And that's honestly what makes Chris Paul, in my opinion, so good of a point guard, and honestly makes this Rockets team extremely deadly. Now, some other key players that I have for the Rockets: Joe Johnson, Eric Gordon, Ryan Anderson. Honestly, Eric Gordon, I think, absolute laser three-point shooter. Honestly, I think that if Gordon gets hot from three, I don't know what's going to stop him. I definitely do think that Eric Gordon is going to be big. Joe Johnson, they picked him up in a trade earlier this season. I believe they got him from the Jazz. Honestly, Joe Johnson has been worth every cent. And honestly, the fact that they have this man coming off the bench as a 6th or a 7th man and is just absolutely intimidating. All right, because James Johnson can hurt you from outside, he can hurt you inside, he can hurt you defensively. Honestly, I like Joe Johnson. I definitely think that, if they give him the chance to start at power forward, I mean, you could definitely make the argument for it. Obviously, I don't think he has the height for it, but I definitely think he can get it done. And then Ryan Anderson, honestly, again, another scoring threat for the Houston Rockets, and definitely another, and definitely a guy who can definitely get you going in terms of offensive and defensive replacement. So I definitely do think that, that Ryan Anderson, Eric Gordon, Joe Johnson, I definitely think those guys coming off the bench definitely going to be big keys in terms of this Houston Rockets team. And really, it's the same thing with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, right now, I can't even lie, I have everybody highlighted in the starting lineup for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I know what you're thinking. And Jeff Teague, why do you have Jeff Teague highlighted? A lot of people forget about Jeff Teague. That's the thing. And that's what makes him so good. A lot of people, you look at the Timberwolves team, first 3 names that come to your mind: Wiggins, Butler, or Towns. Like, just off the top of my head, first 3 names, not even looking at the paper. All right, and then in terms of Jeff Teague, he being left wide open, and honestly, like I said, we forget the value of Jeff Teague and how good he can actually play. And when he's left open, I think Jeff Teague can definitely be a threat. Now, why do I have Taj Gibson highlighted? Honestly, I'm going to say it like this. I think Taj Gibson definitely has a very good mid-range game. However, I think Taj Gibson is there for more of a defensive purpose than he is for a offensive purpose. Now, honestly, I said it at the beginning of the year. I said it last year, or for the offseason. I said pretty much they picked up Butler, they picked up Wiggins, they got Towns. Now all they needed was a decent power forward for defensive purposes, maybe elite one, and then they just need a shooter of a point guard who will be willing to come in for cheap. And they got that. Now, obviously, the reason I have Wiggins, Butler, and Towns is because, honestly, let's be real, Butler are amazing all around. Towns, honestly, I think definitely underlooked as a center. I definitely think that Towns is probably one of the best centers in the league, if not, honestly, the best. And honestly, you can make the argument with Cousins and everything, but really, I think that if you look at probably best centers in the league in terms of defensive and offensive, I definitely think that Karl Anthony Towns' name is up there. And I definitely think that this big 3 right now, and honestly, it's really going to be the matchups that affected and everything. I mean, Harden against Butler, that's obviously always a good matchup. That's always been an intriguing matchup. Even when Harden was still with the Rockets, and Butler was with the Bulls, and you could even make the argument that when Butler, when Harden was with OKC in a sense, and Butler was in Chicago. So really, you can make those arguments too. But really, again, another matchup that's going to get you, it's going to be Clint Capella against Karl Anthony Towns. And honestly, those two, that's just going to be a defensive matchup up in the center. It's just going to be really interesting to see which one of those 2 centers gets the better of it. And obviously, both of them are very tough rebounding duo. So, honestly, just got to keep a lookout for that one. And then Wiggins, in a sense, has to just maintain Trevor Ariza and honestly play to the potential that we know that Andrew Wiggins can play to. Now, obviously, I do have other key components for the Timberwolves, and honestly, it's 3 basic ones for me in a sense. Honestly, first one, hands down, Derrick Rose. Honestly, Derrick Rose coming off the bench for this Timberwolves team, honestly, it is not a bad move. And really, Derrick Rose just needs to prove himself. Like, really, he wants to like, this is Derrick Rose. He wants to get a max contract. Like, he really does. He wants to get back to his MVP form. And I definitely think that Rose can do it. It's just a case of he's not performing in the way he is, and pretty much injuries have caught up to him. So, really, the main question I have for Derrick Rose is, like, what is going to happen? Like, what can he do, in a sense, to help him out? Because, honestly, I think if he can definitely lead this Bulls team, or if he can play like he played for the Bulls. Bulls. I was going on the right track with that. I literally thought that I was going on the wrong track, but then I was like, no, I know what I'm saying. Anyway, but Derrick Rose, if he can turn around and play like he did with the Bulls, play like he did in, I believe it was the 2010-2011 season where he won the MVP. Honestly, I definitely think that Derrick Rose can definitely get it done. And same thing with Gorgie Dieng. And Gorgie Dieng, honestly, no MVP candidate here. Let's be real. All right, that's the only difference. No MVP candidate, but strictly defense. Honestly, I think that's definitely going to be something that that Houston needs to contend with. And Jamal Crawford, it's honestly both defensive and offensive, but more of a three-point liability in the terms of a perimeter or defensive of guard. And really, I think that's one thing that the Rockets are going to have to be aware of is that they're going to get into a defensive battle, and that they really can't get too overconfident. And I think this series definitely has the potential to go to 7 games with the talent on both sides. Like, really, you watch the Rockets, it's Timberwolves game. These games are so intense. Like, really, it's a case of, like, both these teams, amazing talent on both sides, amazing potential on both sides. And really, you can make the argument as to who is going to get the better side in this matchup. And really, I got to go with the Rockets. And again, don't be surprised if this series goes to 6 or 7 games. Because honestly, I think that, both teams are extremely good. And honestly, any of these guys, honestly, I think if anybody on either of these teams, whether it's a key player or not, I think anybody on those teams can definitely get hot and definitely start causing trouble for the other. So, going down, let's go ahead and, honestly, I'm going to say it like this. Let's talk about the 2 versus 7 seed. And it's a matchup that, honestly, is going to drive anybody nuts. Now, really, how can I put this? How can I put this without hurting anybody's feelings, in a sense? Both teams are missing someone, and that person is key, quote-unquote. Now for the Warriors, it's kind of a little bit more, quote-unquote, drastic again. And Warriors are going to miss Curry for the first round. Okay, no big deal. But for the Warriors, pretty much, this is the rotation. Because they're saying Curry's out for the entire first round. And so really, the rotation would be Quinn Cook, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and JaVale McGee. And I put JaVale McGee / Zaza Pachulia. The reason I put that is because, honestly, it's been an absolute blindfold fest as to who's starting at center for the Warriors. Like, really, it has. And honestly, I think it's honestly been a joke in a sense at times to determine who the starting center is for this team. But honestly, I couldn't tell you. And then for the Spurs, really, it's another interesting one. It's Dejounte Murray, Patty Mills. I put question marks next to Kawhi Leonard. Honestly, I don't think Kawhi Leonard's going to be starting because we haven't heard anything, but yet everybody's saying he's medically cleared. So, really, the question is, is Kawhi starting? Is he not? Like, that's the question. Like, nobody's reporting it. The only thing they're saying, yeah, he's good to go. That's all we're getting. We're getting he's good to go. Is he going to come back for the playoffs? Is he going to come back next season? A lot of people are even saying, is Kawhi going to turn around and, be on the trade block? Like, honestly, I think if you're San Antonio, I think you're even crazy for just considering that. Just considering that. Unless you're getting an elite level player, and I mean someone like Jokic or someone like that, and like the number 3 pick in the draft. Like, if you get something like that, maybe. Other than that, don't even think about it. But if Kawhi doesn't start, it's Danny Green, and then power forward is Kyle Anderson, center is LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, really, the players I got highlighted for the Warriors are Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and I got Jordan Bell highlighted. He's my other key player, and I have him highlighted, and I'll explain why. The other 2 key players I also have are Iggy and Nick Young. Now why do I not have Iggy highlighted when he's been so good for the Warriors in the playoffs nonetheless? Honestly, I'm going to say it like this. I definitely think that Iggy will be a key, but I don't think he's going to be a key until, like, the second round, if they make it. If they make it. That's my key. For the Warriors. If they make it. Why do I say if? Because you have no Steph Curry. You have Quinn Cook. You have Quinn Cook and you have an absolute burn fire, I'm going to call it. You have a burn fire at center and you don't know which one you're going to start. All right, now the reason I have Jordan Bell highlighted is the man can play center. Now, honestly, I think Steve Kerr, a very smart man. Very smart. All right, but I think if Steve Kerr wants to show off his I guess you could call it basketball wisdom, let's call it, quote unquote, basketball wisdom. If Kerr wants to show off his basketball wisdom, he'll start Jordan Bell. He'll start Jordan Bell because I honestly think that Jordan Bell has more potential to be, honestly, a very elite center. Because honestly, obviously, I'll say it like this. Yes, Draymond is the power forward. Yes, Durant is the small forward. Clay is the 2 guards. Curry's the 1 guard. You know, but honestly, if you throw Jordan Bell in there, honestly, I think that this team has a lot of potential. Well, to honestly, and it kills me to say this, it has the potential to repeat if they start Jordan Bell. Oh, but let's be real, they're not going to start him. They're not going to start Jordan Bell. who are we kidding? They're not starting Jordan Bell. Oh, my bad. Have I lost my mind? I obviously, I've forgotten. You know, I forgot who the Warriors are. Or, like you're kidding me. So, really, the main concern, or the main keys are going to be, obviously, the big 3 in Thompson, Durant, and Draymond. I mean, the question is, like, and this becomes the question. Is Clay going to be the Clay that played last year in the playoffs where he was barely doing well? Like, he was barely a thought in the playoffs. And Durant, obviously we know Durant. And is Draymond really going to be the second scorer on this team? Like, that's really the question that's going to be thrown up. Because right now, the way I'm looking at it right now is really, I think the 3 scorers that are going to be on this team. And this is where, you know, somebody's going to throw a table at the window at me. Honestly, I don't think Clay is going to be the main scorer. I don't think Clay is going to be the number 3 scorer for the Warriors. And the reason being is because when it comes to playoffs, you see this? Yeah, Clay chokes. All right, Clay chokes. And I know that's a bold statement and everything, you know. Clay averages about, like, what, 26 points? It's a game, maybe. And really, it's a case of, I think he's definitely a liability when it comes to the playoffs. And really, I think the top 3 scorers for the, as I said, for the Warriors are going to be Durant, Young, and I'll make the case for Andre Iguodala. Honestly, I don't think any of the starters are really going to get that many points. It's other than Durant. Because obviously, Draymond, more of a defensive purpose. Zaza and JaVale McGee are just jokes. And really, Quinn Cook is just an afterthought on the burner. Now, this is where I think they're going to have problems. Because honestly, the guys I have highlighted for the Spurs are actually kind of simple. I got DeJounte Murray, Patty Mills, Kyle Anderson, LaMarcus Aldridge, and off the bench, I got Rudy Gay highlighted as well, because we seem to forget. Rudy Gay, yes, he is slated as a power forward on ESPN's depth chart. However, I definitely think that if Rudy Gay gets to start at small forward, I think that we're definitely going to be having a very interesting matchup at small forward between Durant and Rudy Gay, because I definitely know, because, like, let's be real, Rudy Gay is more of a defensive guy, and he can be an offensive guy at times. However, I definitely think that Rudy Gay, if he can play very good defense on Durant, I think it's definitely going to bring problems for the Warriors in terms of, you know, the matchups and everything. And honestly, we've seen it in the past. I mean, with no Tony Parker, with no Kawhi Leonard, this Spurs team can dominate the Warriors. Like, really, they can dominate. that's concerning because obviously last year Kawhi was a big question mark because of Zaza Pachulia injuring the ankle and everything. But really, like I said, Kawhi really can't make a difference. I mean, San Antonio has held their own against Golden State, and it's going to be interesting because I also, off the bench, I mean, I got Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Pau Gasol, and like I said, I also got Rudy Gay. And really, I think that San Antonio Spurs can definitely put a hurting on the Warriors, and honestly, might show the Warriors a first-round exit and really just cause mass hysteria. And really, it's going to be interesting to see like what happens in terms of all that. So I definitely do want to keep this game close as well. But honestly, I think the San Antonio Spurs could definitely pull this off in 6. Now, I know that's a bold prediction, but really, I definitely think that San Antonio has more potential than we think, especially without Kawhi Leonard. And we've seen it throughout the entire season. And now, obviously, obvious, is the Spurs did not get 50 wins this season. They got 47. But still, without your star player, and really without Tony Parker throughout the rest for most of the season, really, that's impressive. Without your star player, and without another key player, honestly, it's impressive. 47 wins, like shout out to Greg Popovich. And that's another thing. Like, you look at the coaching experience. Honestly, I think Popovich is a better coach than Kerr. So really, I think in terms of a coaching aspect, I think Greg Popovich is a better coach. All right, then we go ahead and we're gonna look at the number 3 versus number 6 seed, and it's actually an interesting one. It's the Trailblazers against the Pelicans. And now, had you asked me at the beginning of the year, do I think that the Portland Trailblazers are going to be a number 3 seed in the Western Conference? The answer I would have given you was an absolute no. But really, turning around, shocking everybody, with Lillard playing hats off unreal, McCollum playing unreal, Turner stepping up, Nurkic doing really well at center, John Collins being unbelievable at rookie, being an unbelievable rookie, and really just everyone in that Portland team just coming together and really doing well. So, again, hats off to Portland for doing extremely well. So, honestly, I'm going to say it like this. Let's go ahead, let's break down the Portland in depth chart. So, point guard or shooting guard, we already know. It's Lillard and McCollum. Small forward, Evan Turner. Power forward, Alfred Aminu. And center, it's Yusuf Nurkic. It's honestly not the best of starting lineups that you'll see out there, but definitely a team that got it done during the regular season and honestly has to translate it to the playoffs and avoid a first-round exit against a team that honestly has a ton of potential to do it. Now, obviously, no DeMarcus Cousins for this team. However, the team is actually really good, and I definitely think that they found a way to actually go around and actually make a pretty good starting lineup. And the lineup is actually pretty well. It's Rondo at point guard, or Drew Holiday at shooting guard, Etuan Moore at small forward, Anthony Davis at power forward, Mika Okafor at center. Now, that's what they have on ESPN, as I said. And now, this is my opinion. This is my straight opinion. This is what I think. Honestly, if I had to guess if I had to make a suggestion for this New Orleans lineup, I definitely would say that Anthony Davis could start at center, and you can move Nikola Mirotic in at power forward, and definitely try that out throughout the first round. But honestly, definitely going to be interesting because obviously no DeMarcus Cousins, and it's actually ironic. A lot of people are turning around and they're saying, "Oh, Cousins isn't going to go back to the Pelicans," but honestly, I think that Cousins definitely likes the team. Like, you have an unreal team. You have Rondo, Holiday, you got Moore, and honestly, you go back to New Orleans, you're teaming up with probably the best power forward in the league, and honestly, to make a duo of Cousins and Davis is absolutely scary for the front court. Right? So I definitely do think that, this team definitely has a lot of potential to potentially have the Blazers go out for a first round exit. Now, key players I have, like other key players I have for both teams. Honestly, for Portland, I put John Collins, Shabazz Napier, and Maurice and Mo Harkless, and for the Pelicans, I put Mirotic, I put Solomon Hill, and I got Jordan Crawford. Now, let me explain why I got both John Collins and Nikola Mirotic highlighted. Honestly, I think John Collins definitely has the stuff to start. And I definitely think that John Collins is definitely a pretty good rookie for the Trailblazers, and I definitely think that Nick Collins would do really well. Honestly, if they had him start and everything, he could definitely hold his own. Obviously, I can understand why without for Aminu, honestly, out there facing Anthony Davis, I can definitely understand why. But really, and it's the same thing for Mirotic. It's because, honestly, I think that Mirotic could definitely turn around, play power forward while you have Anthony Davis start at center. And obviously, we've seen it. We saw it last year. Davis would slot it over to center, but then they picked up Cousins and they moved right back to power forward. So really, it definitely had a lot of interest right there. And really, this is going to be one of those matchups where it's going to be a case of, again, and a number 3 seed has to be careful of the number 6 seed. And really, we've seen New Orleans in the past. All right, we can't even deny it. We've seen in New Orleans in the past. They definitely have trouble, or not New Orleans. We've seen Portland in the past. They definitely have had problems in the first round. And honestly, it's going to be scary to think of a first-round bye for a team that's actually done really well this year. All right, and then to wrap up the 4 seed, or to wrap up the Western Conference in a sense, to really just, close out everything, I guess you could call it. You have, who else? You have the Thunder taking on the Jazz, and honestly, I think this is I think a matchup that is definitely going to be, in a sense, a little bit out there, that I definitely do think is going to be a matchup that could honestly give either team problems. And I definitely think in terms of big-time problems, I definitely do believe big-time problems could be, honestly, for either side, really. I mean, looking at the Thunder starting 5, it's Westbrook, Brewer, George, Anthony, Adams. Now, obviously, I'll say the first name so everybody's not like, wait, Anthony Adams plays basketball? Oh, all right, calm down. Oh, Russell Westbrook, Corey Brewer, Paul George, or it's Carmelo Anthony, Steven Adams. All right, that's the starting 5, obviously. And then for the Jazz, in a sense, it looks like a mismatch. That's like, in a sense, because you have Ricky Rubio, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, Derek Favors, Rudy Gobert. Now, obviously, I think if the awards weren't so one-sided this year, I definitely think you can make the option that Donovan Mitchell definitely has the potential for a Rookie of the Year candidate. Now looking at everything, like I said, just looking at everything, and I'm going to say the key players. First, for the Thunder, it's obvious. All right, it is more than obvious. Westbrook, George, Anthony, Adams. All right, Westbrook just needs to be Westbrook. That's all Westbrook needs to do. Paul George needs to be the Paul George that was in Indiana. Honestly, he's picked it up as of late, but really he just needs to keep that throughout the playoffs. Melo has to be the Melo that we remember from New York. Or can he hog the ball? Honestly, I wouldn't say yes, I wouldn't say no, but I definitely think that Carmelo can definitely turn around and make some magic actually happen. If he actually turns around and he plays like he used to play in New York. Obviously, he's getting older, he's regressing and everything, but honestly, I think Melo can definitely turn back the clock and get it done. Now, why do I have Steven Adams highlighted? Because I honestly think that Steven Adams has the defensive purpose to definitely stay with Rudy Gobert. And I definitely think that Gobert can definitely, obviously he's there for defensive purposes is in terms of Rudy Gobert, and also could definitely get a lot of second chance points, but I think Steven Adams could definitely do the same thing against Rudy Gobert, and I think that he could definitely get a lot of points going off of it. Now, going for the other key players for the Thunder, it's Jerami Grant and Patrick Patterson, and it's Terrence Ferguson. Now, the reason I got all 3 of those guys in is honestly, they're going to have to fill up. Patterson's going to have to fill up the power forward. Jerami Grant obviously going to have to fill out that shooting guard spot. And really, it's just a case of it's going to rely more on the starting 5. And honestly, small forward for Jerami Grant. I honestly forgot he was a small forward. I thought he was a 2 guard. All right, and really, it's just going to be a case of whenever they come in as a substitute, they're going to have to do the damage that we know they can. And so really just I was looking at it, I think that the Thunder should have no problem with this. But honestly, we've seen everything happen. And then for the Jazz, I got Gobert, Rubio, Favors, and honestly off the bench I got Jay Crowder. Now, why do I not have Donovan Mitchell highlighted? Because honestly, I put him in italics because honestly, I think that he can be a key, but in a sense, I don't know if he'll be a key. Now, why do I have Mitchell in italics? Because I definitely, as I said, I think he has the potential to be a threat, but, like, he has to prove it. Like, really, he has to prove it. Like, Rubio, oh, obviously, pass-first point guard. Love that type of point guard in the NBA. I really do. Ooh, I'm like 6 rings of steel. I definitely love a pass-first point guard. Or I definitely think that benefits it's a lot of the game. And now... Oh, Gobert, obviously defensive. Derek Favors is going to be their main guy. Going for scoring. And then really Jay Crowder coming off the bench. And really you can make the argument that Crowder could start. But just being a 6-man, I think that Jay Crowder could definitely have the potential to take over the games and everything. And at small forward when it gets taken in for Joe Ingles. So, really, I think that the main keys are going to be Gobert on the defensive side, Favors on the defensive and scoring side. And really just Jay Crowder coming off the bench and just feeding off of everything. And then 2 other guys I got in terms of key players for the Jazz. It's Dante Exum and Alex Burks. And really, it's just... I really think that Alex Burke is going to be more of a key than Dante Exum. But honestly, it's going to be a case of, like, how does it go? Like, how are we going to be looking at this? Like, what is going to happen? So... I mean, really, for that series, honestly, I think that OKC should probably have no problems. I definitely think that OKC has definitely the advantage in terms of the lineup and the star power. But honestly, you never know with that Western Conference. You really, honestly, it's always a question mark. All right, so, all right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's turn it over to. Let's make a deal. Let's turn it over to 2 songs. Then we'll come back. We'll talk the Eastern Conference, and I think that should do it for the day. So, yeah. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to 2 songs, and yeah, we'll be right back with some more NBA playoff I guess you could say contention or just predictions and keys and everything. And when we get back, so guys, make sure you stay tuned. And guys, you are listening to WKCV, the voice of Keystone College. Oh, man. Woo, I'm out of breath. I don't know about you guys. I'm out of breath. What's up, guys? So about that fight last night. Yo, a lot of people turn around, and we talked about it in ethics. That's the funny thing. And we talked about it in ethics. I thought it was absolutely funny. Hey, because I'm like, if the Yankees don't need Tyler Austin, it's like, we don't need Tyler Austin, and nobody needs Joe Kelly. So, it's just a case of 2 idiots just us, just saying, screw this. We know we suck. Just get us out of the game. Oh, man. Alright, so we'll go Eastern Conference next. That actually took longer than I thought. Well, YouTube, no. YouTube, don't flag me. Don't flag me, YouTube. Don't do it. No. Don't flag me, YouTube, please. I don't want to be flagged. No. Who? Oh, that was Blackjack. Whenever you get that, it's like, who's messaging me? And then it's like, oh, never mind. It's like, I know who. All good. All good. Oh, shit. Shit, I'm a nuts. Oh. Woo. Oh, so what's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? I miss you guys. I really do. I do. So I don't know if you guys heard, but your boy's working on Saturday. Hey, so yeah, real quick, kind of a spoiler alert. Kind of a spoiler alert, guys. I am not. That means I'm not calling the game on Saturday. So, yeah. Anyway. Oh, how was everyone's day? Like, I'm serious. How was everyone's day? Hey, all I'm gonna say about my day, past 24 hours have been interesting. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Woo! I need headphone. Does my wire work for that headphone jack? If it does, I'll listen to the music. Because I'm not trying to get flagged by YouTube. Like, that's the thing. Hey, like, YouTube, I love you and everything. But, like, come on. It's a radio show. I'm gonna have music. Like serious. Nope. No headphone jack. And the ones next door are pretty much like... they're locked up. I could go see... I'm gonna go see if I can get them. I mean, I doubt it. I'll be right back. Yeah, I don't have access to... But no, that's weird because it's like, it's been all semester that I haven't had access. It's whatever. Alright, I'll let Sean Kingston finish up. Hurry up, Sean! It's like, let's go! Oh, so, that moment you're told that you have practice at 5:15. Like, that's a time, man. And 5:15. All good. All good, man. Whew. What's up, Karan? What's up? Lise, Tiff, Mom. Hey, Mom. Hey, babe. Hey, Rye, Danny. Seeing a lot of old faces. What's up with that? What's up with that? Oh, real quick. I gotta ask this. I'm probably gonna ask Strum at study hall. I don't know if Strum's watching this. It's fun. I'll say it anyway. Anybody from Keystone, like if you're watching right now, anybody from Keystone, do we have a newspaper? Or do we have like a news article or something like that? Like, I'm curious. Like, do we? Because I don't remember anybody actually saying, like, we have the Casey e-notes or the morning e-notes or whatever it is, but like, we don't have anything else. Also, fun fact, I actually keep forgetting that today's I keep forgetting today's Thursday. Like, for whatever reason, don't ask me why, but for whatever reason, I'm thinking that tomorrow is Thursday. Like, today I think is Wednesday. Don't ask me why. Like, it doesn't feel like a Thursday. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like a Thursday. It really feels like a Wednesday. Hey, but, it's whatever. I gotta talk to, I gotta talk to Matt. Turn on the heat. It's actually, if you can believe it, it's actually gonna be 70 degrees. Like, this weekend, it's gonna be 70 degrees. Like, the weekend, I'm going home. All good. I'm not mad. I know I'm kind of just pacing back and forth, but I've been, literally, reason I'm pacing is, or reason I'm walking around is because I've been sitting all day. Other than the 8 miles I did and walking to class, I've been on my feet all day because it's actually funny because I usually sit in between classes. But today was different. Today was interesting. The reason it was interesting is because, okay, so I have an 8 a.m. class, right? And at 8 a.m. we have, or what's it called? And usually that class gets out early, usually it doesn't. doesn't type deal. But when it does, I usually go downstairs and I sit in the lobby and I sit in the lobby. You have Harris, and then I leave. Because it actually used to be because my second class actually used to be at the library. So I would go to the library instead of on the couches there. But long story short, Harris had a fire drill today. It was a case of I had to get up, so I was up and walking around. I was actually on the phone with my mom. I can't even lie. Alright, so here we go. 15 seconds. Here we go, folks. We are going to be back on. You're going to be back on in 10 seconds. Alright, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wkcv, the voice of Keystone College, is back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some more NBA basketball coverage, I guess you could call it, here on Sports Talks. Guys, welcome back to Sports Talks on the channel, or on the. I've been calling the baseball all game so much. I've been so used to welcome back to the channel. Oh, welcome back to the station, guys, and welcome back to the show. And guys, honestly, let's talk about the fat elephant in the room. The fat elephant in the room. Like, literally, it's incredible. Like, I had, remember last week, the elephant that I had a hard time fitting in the door? Or, yeah, this elephant, I had a hard time fitting in the building. And, I even had a hard time just fitting it in the truck to get it here. Can we talk about how the Washington Wizards are an 8 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks are a 7 seed, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are a 4 seed? Like, serious? And that's what's even crazier than that is that the Raptors are a 1 seed. Yeah, kind of just spoiled the first round matchup, or one of the first round matchups, but still, man. And, all right, let's not waste any time. Let's break down the Eastern Conference, man. And I feel like this is going to be a little bit tougher because, honestly, like I said, I think these series could definitely go to potentially 5, maybe 7 games. So, really, you're going to start off with the Raptors and Wizards. It's going to be a case of, honestly, 2 of the best front court, or the back courts, in the NBA, in Lowry and DeRozan against Wall and Beal. Honestly, I think that's going to be just an amazing matchup. Obviously, those 4, obviously, my highlighted players is for who I think are going to be keys. But then you look at the rest of the rotation, and I'll go with the matchup, too. Really, it would be OG Anunoby. He taking on Otto Porter, or Anunoby for the Raptors, Porter for the Wizards, Serge Ibaka for the Raptors taking on Markieff Morris for the Wizards, and then Jonas Valanciunas is for the Raptors to take on Marcin Gortat. In that matchup, in and amongst itself, so that center matchup, honestly, I think is gonna determine this series. The reason I say that, and really, I also put for my key players, I put Pascal Siakam, CJ Miles, Jakob Poeltl. For the Raptors, and for the Wizards, I put Kelly Oubre, Yamahimi, and Jody Meeks. But reason I say that matchup, that center matchup, is going to determine this series is because obviously we got 4 players highlighted for each team, and really I think that Ibaka and Porter could potentially face off, but it's definitely going to be Ibaka and Morris facing off. But really, that center matchup is going to determine this one. And the reason I say that is because everybody talks so well about Marcin Gortat. And honestly, I do believe that he's probably one of the better big men. I definitely think he's definitely a very good big man in the league. Honestly, do I think he's probably one of the best? No, I don't. But I definitely think it's pretty good. And really, I think that a lot of people just need to see him. I think he just needs to prove himself or something. And really, this series is going to test him because, honestly, he's going up against a very good defense and offensive scorer in Jonas Valanciunas. Obviously, probably a top 10, top 13 center in the league. For Valanciunas. And really, for Gortat, it's really going to be a case of can Gortat handle Valanciunas? And if he can't, it's just going to be a nightmare for Valanciunas, or for Gortat throughout the series, because really, he's not really going to get any help. That's really the only reason I have Gortat highlighted it as a key player, is because he's going to have to contain Jonas Valanciunas. And really, that's going to be the key for the Wizards to stay in the series. Obviously, Lowry and Wall are going to be going at it. Beal and DeRozan going to go at it. And really, for DeRozan, he's going to have to prove himself because last year in the playoffs really didn't make an impact. But at the same time, really, those 4 are going to handle each other. And that's just going to be an interesting series to see nonetheless. And then Ibaka and Porter doing their thing against Anunoby and Morris. And then really, like I said, the main key is going to be, can Gortat really just hold his own? I mean, we know that everybody else on the Wizards is going to hold their own, but like I said, can and Gortat hold his own against Valanciunas? Like, that's my question. And really, the question and honestly, I think I have the answer. I think the answer is no. Like, I don't think Gortat can handle Valanciunas. I think that Toronto can definitely get it done. And so, all right. Hey, really, not that much to talk about in that series, but really, honestly, again, wouldn't be surprised if that series goes to 6. It's because of the fact that, you know, the matchups and everything, and like I said, depends on how Gortat plays. Okay, so really, in a sense, Gortat, ball's in your court, man. And now, we're going to talk about a team that's, honestly, that's beaten up. That was literally, in my opinion, I think the favorite to win the NBA Finals. And then Gordon Hayward got hurt, Kyrie Irving got hurt, and really everything just went downhill. Well, because, I mean, the Celtics were the 1 seed for the longest time. And then the Raptors came along, and can't even deny what the Raptors did. 59 games, honestly, 1 away from 60, which is really good, but still finished off 55-12 and 27. And really just going to be a question mark for, you know, for a team such as the Celtics and the Bucks to go at it. And really, it's going to be a good matchup. And really, I've been talking about first round upsets, and this definitely has the potential for one, in a sense. So really, this is really what I have in terms of the rotation. So starting off for the Celtics, it's Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Aaron Baines. And that's what I have. They have Horford slated at power forward, and they have Baines starting. And for the Bucks, the starting 5 is Eric Bledsoe, Tony Snell, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and John Henson. Now, I have 2 bench players that I think are definitely going to be keys in this one, and I definitely think should be starting. Again, this is just my opinion, guys. Trust me, yours is different too. But really, the thing that gets me is the other key players. And really, it's going to be a case of, for me, for the Celtics, it's Greg Monroe and Marcus Morris. And really, I just had to throw a third name out there, so I said Shane Larkin. But really, I think those 2 are just going to be the keys for it, because Morris has been absolutely clutch for the Celtics. And I mean that. Marcus Morris has been unreal for the Celtics. Honestly, I definitely think he's been doing really well off the bench. And really, I think that Greg Monroe should probably be starting in this series. And the reason I say that, everybody seems to forget, Greg Monroe was on the Bucks to start the season. So really, you want a guy who knows the Bucks, who can honestly handle John Henson, and throw Greg Monroe in there. Just throw him in there. See how that works. I definitely think that it would be a very interesting matchup. I definitely think it'll get a lot done. Or even if you have to throw Greg Monroe out there against Giannis. But honestly, what they would probably do is they'd probably have Monroe face up against Henson. But again, that's just me. And then other key players for the Bucks. Honestly, is there really any question? Thon Maker, Jabari Parker, and I put Brandon Jennings / Matthew Dellavedova. I didn't highlight them. However, I do definitely think that whichever one is out there is definitely gonna have to put in the work, and definitely they're gonna have to cover for Eric Bledsoe. And that's honestly a big shoe to fill. Now, really, I looked at this and I thought of it like this: is you can make the argument for Giannis to go back to small forward, move Middleton to the 2 guard, and then have Jabari start. But honestly, I don't think the Bucks are going to be doing that. I think they're going to be bringing Jabari off the bench, possibly with the second unit, possibly as a 6-man. And honestly, I think if Jabari comes in against the second units, I think it's definitely going to be a problem. And really, I think that those 2 right there, just Jabari and Thon, they can do work against the secondary of I guess you could call it the secondary or the second strings. And so really, I definitely think they could do work against them. And really, I think the main key for the Celtics is not going to be Al Horford. It's not going to be Jaylen Brown. But really, I think it's going to be rookie Jason Tatum. I mean, honestly, I think we're going to have to see, what Tatum is made of. And this, again, it's going to question, or it's going to throw up how Tatum plays. And really, I think that Tatum definitely, again, has the potential to do really good for the Celtics team. But I really think that Tatum has to show up and carry this team. I mean, Horford can't slack off. That's the thing. Brown has to be electric. Monroe really just has to punish his old team. And really, it's a case of, like, are the Bucks going to be too much for the Celtics? Honestly, for me, I don't think they're too much. I think the Celtics know what we're gonna get into. And I think that potentially the Bucks could go for a first round exit of the Celtics. It's pretty much, in other words, helping the Celtics get out of the first round. But really, it's going to be interesting to see. Like, this is another matchup. Definitely could go to 6. I mean, maybe 7. You can make the argument for it. They could definitely go to 7 if they wanted to. I mean, really, I honestly, I think it definitely has the potential to go to 7. I think it will go to 7, actually. So, and really, again, the main guys that I think it's going to be the bench players for this one. All right, so then we move down to 3 versus 6, and this one you just have a fire going up against another fire. But the one fire is literally, how can I put it about the other fire? The other fire is literally, it's not just a regular fire, it's a forest fire that it started with a little match, and like I said, it's a forest fire that got turned into a bonfire. And the reason I say that is the Sixers are on a 16-game winning streak going into the playoffs. Like, that's scary in and amongst itself. And real quick, something that really could get somebody's skin going and get the hair standing up, LeBron's considering the 76ers in free agency. So, real quick, just to throw off topic, like, just imagine this. Ben Simmons, J.J. Redick, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, Joel Embiid, Markelle Fultz, Amir Johnson, LeBron James. Like, that's the process right there. Like, Philly's going to tear it. Literally, that's what Philadelphia is going to become. It's going to become a question mark because they're going to burn the city to the ground. But Simmons at point guard, they're running him. He's been doing really well at point guard, so don't fix what's not broken. J.J. Redick, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, technically Joel Embiid, but apparently they're saying Embiid's going to miss the first game of the series. They're saying Joel Embiid's going to miss the first game of the series. And it's going to be Amir Johnson starting. So that's the starting 5. That's what they said is going to happen. So honestly, I'm going to go with that for now because that's what they're reporting. That's what ESPN is reporting. That's what everybody's reporting. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say it's Amir Johnson and Joel Embiid for the start. Now, in terms of the Heat, it's Goran Dragic, it's Tyler Johnson, Josh Richardson, Kelly Olynyk, Hassan Whiteside, and then really for the other key players, I just put Dwayne Wade, Justice Winslow, James Johnson in for the Heat. And for the Sixers, I mean, are you kidding me? Markelle Fultz, Amir Johnson, T.J. McConnell. And really for the Heat, the keys are going to be Tyler in terms of the bench, it's going to be Dwayne Wade having to turn back the clock, Justice Winslow actually stepping up, and James Johnson and actually doing good. But really, this is one of the series that I think that the Sixers could definitely come in and definitely go to 5 with the Heat and then just dispose of them in Miami. But really, the only reason I give it to Miami in 5 is because, honestly, if you ever look at the Miami Heat, honestly, they have had a tendency to turn around and just dominate throughout. So really, or just be like a streak killer. And honestly, Miami has been one of the better teams in the playoffs. So honestly, do not be surprised if Miami turns around and gives them a little bit of a run for their money. So I definitely do think that Miami could hang around on, game 1 and 2, potentially, or for the first 3 games, I definitely think Philly's going to take the first 2 at home, potentially, and then the Heat are just going to take 1 at home, and then really Philly's just going to dispose of them. So I definitely think that the Sixers can honestly more than get it done. And then, and probably my biggest upset alert are coming in, and it's the Cavs against the Pacers. 4 versus 5, and we know how well the 4 versus 5 games are, and how intriguing they are. I don't think LeBron has ever been, like, this is just a guess, I don't think LeBron has ever been in a 4 versus 5 game, and that in and amongst itself is going to be interesting. And so really just going to throw this out there about the starting lineup for each team. It's LeBron James, at point guard LeBron, on shooting guard it's Rodney Hood, small forward it's Cedi Osman, and power forward Jeff Green, center Kevin Love. Now, for the Pacers, a little bit of a different look. It's Darren Collison, Victor Oladipo, Bojan Bogdanovic, it's Thaddeus Young, Miles Turner. Now, the key players for this one for me, or the other key players for this one, really, for the Cavs, it's virtually the entire bench. I have the guy that cheated on Khloe Kardashian, Tristan Thompson. Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard about him. Yeah, apparently, yeah, don't want to get into that one. George Hill, Larry Nance Jr., J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, Jordan Clarkson. Now, the guys I have highlighted for the Cavs, actually, it's the same guys. It's LeBron, Love, Thompson, Hill, Nance Jr., and Clarkson. And really, it's a case of LeBron is doing extremely well over at point guard. And honestly, I think if this team wants a chance to actually turn around and do well and potentially, move on to the next round, then I definitely do think that the LeBron James carrying train is going to have to go on. But really, I think that the guy that's going to take over this playoff matchup is probably going to be Oladipo, because, who's going to match up against Oladipo? You can make the argument for George Hill would do really well, maybe Jordan Clarkson. And, J.R. Smith really is just... J.R. Smith's out there for, what, shooting? Rodney Hood's all right at defense, but, really, who do you really trust on that Cleveland Cavaliers team? Like, besides LeBron, who do you trust? I don't trust Kevin Love. Honestly, I don't think Kevin Love is the Kevin Love that we know. Oh, and then Tristan Thompson, George Hill, Larry Nance. Honestly, I think it's an amazing bench, but I don't really think they're going to get it done. I think that Indiana could potentially give the Cavs a first-round bye, or a first-round goodbye. And really, I think it's going to be Turner that takes over against Love. I think Oladipo is going to take over against Hood. Who matches up against LeBron is honestly a question mark for me, because I don't think they're going to have Darren Collison match up against them. But really, just the question of, is small ball going to be played? I'm not sure. But it's going to be something that, everybody needs to pay attention to. Because honestly, I think that the Pacers are going to give the Cavs problems. And honestly, I think LeBron can help them hang around for 7 and maybe 6. But honestly, I'm going to say it like this, folks, I don't think the Warriors or the Cavs make it back to the finals this year. In a sense, you look at the matchups that they would have if they move on. And I'm not trying to stall time. If the Warriors do move on, they'd be facing either the Pelicans or the Blazers. If the Cavs move on, it's either the Wizards or the Raptors. And honestly, I don't really think that, and if the Warriors do move on, and say it's really a pick your poison in the left-hand corner of the 1, 8, 4, and 5 seeds. He's for the Western Conference. It's a pick your poison, because really it would either be Houston or Minnesota, and OKC against or Utah. And really, I honestly wouldn't want to face anybody except Utah in that one, because I definitely think I have a matchup against Utah. I definitely have a advantage against Utah, but really that's I don't see it, guys. I'm sorry. And really, it's for everybody. It's a relief because we're sick and tired of it. And honestly, I'm going to say it like this. I think it's really the only teams to blame for the Warriors and the Cavs getting these first-round exits are really the Cavs and the Warriors. Because, they want to build super teams. It's fantastic. Heck, see you later. You're out in the first round. And really, I didn't really say the other key players for the Pacers. I got Corey Joseph, Lance Stevenson, GR3, Al Jefferson, and Domantas Sabonis. And honestly, I think that Pacers team is just going to be too much. Really, it's going to be interesting to see, man. Who knows what's going to happen? Really, I don't know. Oh, really, for that matchup. I really don't think that it's going to be the Cavaliers final. Oh, so, who knows, man, who knows? Oh, alright, guys, so, I just realized what time it is. It is 8:08, guys. I'm a little bit past. I know I kind of started a little bit late as well. Oh, but nonetheless, guys, I definitely do want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I definitely do appreciate it, guys. Alright, like I said, guys, thank you guys for being amazing people. Thank you guys for listening. And guys, I will talk to you guys next week. Hopefully we have something figured out in terms of who's moving on to the second round. Who knows? But nonetheless, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. I definitely do appreciate it. And guys, I will talk to you guys next week. Later, guys. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, guys. Alright, guys, I gotta get going. Alright? Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much. I really do. So, thank you guys for watching. And guys, I will talk to you guys later. Deuces. Later, YouTube.